On the night she opened her husband's hidden box, Amina discovered 7 pieces of cursed women's underwear, and one of them belonged to her dead mother. In the ancient village of Kudzi, hidden between thick forests and red earth paths, people believed that some things were never meant to be touched. Some objects carried blessings, others carried death. And among the women of that land, there was one warning mothers whispered to their daughters from childhood. Never play with what covers another woman's shame, because some cloths carry more than sweat. But warnings are often understood too late. In that village lived a young woman named Amina. Amina was beautiful in a quiet, haunting way. Her skin glowed like polished ebony after rain. Her eyes were large and thoughtful. Her steps were gentle. But what made people speak about her most was not her beauty. It was her silence. Amina hardly spoke. At the stream, when other girls laughed and argued over whose calabash was finer, she only smiled faintly. At market, when buyers haggled and insulted one another over pepper and smoked fish, she remained calm and speechless. During moonlight gatherings, when children begged for stories and women sang old songs, Amina sat still, her face unreadable. Many thought she was proud. Some thought she was mysterious. Others said she was cursed. But the truth was older and darker than gossip. Amina had once been the loudest child in Kudzi. She used to sing with birds before dawn. She used to run barefoot after goats. She used to laugh so hard that even old men would pause under the neem tree and smile. Her mother used to call her my talking drum because once she began speaking, nobody could stop her. But all that ended the year she turned 10. It began with an ordinary afternoon. Her mother, Zainabu, had been sweeping behind their hut when she found a strange piece of women's underwear tucked beneath a broken clay pot. It looked old, but it was decorated with cowries and stitched with red thread. It was unlike anything village women wore. Curious, Zainabu picked it up with 2 fingers and frowned. She almost threw it away. Instead, thinking it belonged to some careless traveler or village woman, she washed it. That was her mistake. The moment she spread it under the sun, a strong wind rose without warning. The chickens scattered. The sky dimmed. And old Na Korkoi, Amina's grandmother, came running from the front of the compound with terror in her eyes. "Who touched that cloth?" she shouted. Zainabu laughed nervously. "It is just underwear." But Na Korkoi slapped her own chest and cried, "That is no ordinary undercloth. It has been worked on." By evening, Zainabu stopped speaking. By midnight, her hands were trembling. 3 days later, she died, staring at the doorway as if she could see someone the living could not. From then on, Amina's voice changed. At first, she spoke in whispers, then less and less, until silence settled over her life like a second skin. Only Na Korkoi knew why. Before Zainabu died, she had clutched the old woman's wrist and written one shaking message in spilled ash on the floor. "The cloth stole my voice." From then on, Na Korkoi raised Amina with fierce caution. Never wear what is not yours. Never leave your underclothes where strange hands can touch them. And if you ever see intimate cloth hidden in secret places, run. Amina obeyed those warnings, though she never fully understood them. Years passed. She grew into a striking young woman, the kind whose beauty made people lower their voices when she walked by. Men came with marriage offers, farmers, hunters, even a chief's nephew, but none succeeded. Some were scared by her silence. Others said a woman who does not speak carries storms in her belly. Then, one market season, a stranger came to Kudzi. His name was Kedem. He arrived with loaded donkeys, fine cloth, beads, spices, scented oils, and polished sandals from distant lands. He was handsome, smooth-faced, and charming. His voice was sweet like honey poured over hot millet. He greeted the elders respectfully. He distributed small gifts to children. He bought from local traders without arguing over every coin. Within days, the village liked him. Within weeks, women were discussing him at the stream. And within a month, Kedem had noticed Amina. Unlike the others, he did not mock her silence. He did not try to force words from her. Instead, he sat beside her under the mango tree and spoke softly. A quiet woman hears what the noisy world misses. For the first time in years, Amina felt seen rather than judged. Kedem returned again and again. He brought her grandmother kola nuts. He repaired a broken fence in their compound. He always acted patient, respectful, and kind. But Na Korkoi did not trust him. She watched his eyes. She watched the way he smiled too perfectly, the way his fingers lingered too long on objects, the way he never let people enter the room where he slept. One evening, when Kedem had just left after another visit, Na Korkoi called Amina to her mat. "That man carries a shadow." Amina lowered her eyes. The old woman leaned forward. "I have lived too long to fail to smell hidden things. Be careful." But loneliness is a dangerous hunger. Amina had spent years feeling buried alive inside silence. Kedem made her feel chosen, wanted, safe. So when he asked to marry her, she agreed. The whole village celebrated. Drums thundered, women danced, goats were slaughtered, palm wine flowed. Even Na Korkoi, though troubled in spirit, blessed the marriage with trembling hands. As she hugged her granddaughter, she whispered in her ear, "If anything in that house feels wrong, do not wait for morning. Leave." Amina moved into Kedem's compound at the far end of the village, near the forest boundary. At first, all seemed well. Kedem treated her gently. He bought her wrappers and beads. He never shouted. He never struck her. He praised her cooking. He let her keep her silence without complaint. But after the 7th night, strange signs began to appear. Amina would wake exhausted, as if she had spent the night carrying stones on her head. She began finding red dust under their sleeping mat. Sometimes her ankles bore faint chalk marks. More than once, she heard whispers in the back room when no one was there. Then she began having dreams. In those dreams, Amina stood in a dark room filled with women who had no mouths. They stretched their hands towards her, trying to speak, but only tears came. Each morning after those dreams, she woke with pain in her throat. One afternoon, while sweeping the back room, Amina noticed a small wooden chest hidden beneath old baskets. It was tightly wrapped in leather cord. She almost ignored it. Then she heard a sound from inside, a soft sob. Not from outside the room, from inside the box. Her blood ran cold. She remembered her grandmother's warning so clearly that her whole body shook. But curiosity opened the path fear should have closed. Slowly, she untied the cord and lifted the lid. Inside were 7 pieces of women's underwear, neatly folded, carefully arranged, wrapped in red thread and dried grass. Some were old, some looked newer. Each was hanging something: cowries, beads, black string, chalk, feathers. The room became heavy. The air changed. Amina tried to close the lid, but one piece slipped out and brushed her bare foot. At once, a whisper rushed into her ears. "Help us." She gasped and stumbled back. Another whisper came, then another. "Free me." "He took my laughter. He took my womb. He bound my tongue." Amina covered her ears, but the voices were not coming from outside. They were coming from the cloths. Her hands trembled violently. These were no ordinary undergarments. Each one belonged to a woman. Each one held a curse. Each one had trapped something living. That night, Amina pretended to sleep. Near midnight, Kedem rose quietly from bed and walked to the back room carrying a small oil lamp. Through a crack in the wall, Amina watched. He knelt before the chest. He opened it with reverence. Then he touched each underwear piece one by one, speaking like a priest taking attendance. Essie, still barren. Abena, still restless. Yawa, still mad. Mansa, still voiceless. Then his hand rested on a newer one. Amina, nearly sealed. Amina nearly screamed. Her own undercloth. He had stolen it. Her husband was not a traitor. He was a hunter of women's destinies. He seduced them. He stole intimate cloth connected to their bodies. He used dark rituals to bind their voices, fertility, peace, luck, and health. And he fed on what he stole. Before dawn, Amina fled to her grandmother. When Na Korkoi heard everything, she did not act surprised. She looked shattered, as though a nightmare she had feared for years had finally shown its face. "I knew his shadow had a name," she said. "This is old shrine wickedness. Some men use what is private to gain power. A woman's intimate cloth carries her scent, sweat, monthly blood, and body spirit. In evil hands, it becomes a key." Amina's knees weakened. "Can I still be saved?" Na Korkoi stared into the dying fire for a long moment. "Yes, but not with ordinary prayer. We must go where old knots are untied." Together, they traveled into the forest to seek Mother Adziri, a feared priestess who no longer lived among villagers. People said she could hear the truth in ashes and smell curses in the wind. Mother Adziri's shrine hut lay beneath towering silk cotton trees draped in the white cloth. Charms hung from the branches. Bones rattled in the breeze. The place felt alive. When she saw the stolen underwear, her face darkened. "This is sealing work," she said. 7 bindings, 7 stolen destinies." She cast kola nuts across a mat and studied the pattern. Then she touched the oldest piece and went still. This one belonged to a woman who died in fear. Na Korkoi began to shake. The priestess lifted it higher. "This was your mother's." Amina let out a broken cry and fell to the ground. So it was true. The darkness that killed her mother had never gone away. It had merely waited, circled, and come back wearing a smile. Mother Adziri then gave them instructions. The curse will break only if the cloths are named, washed, and judged beneath the moon. But when silence breaks, it never breaks quietly. Every buried voice will rise. Every hidden sin will speak. You must be ready. They prepared for the ritual with terror in their hearts. They gathered dawn river water, bitter leaves, white clay, ashes from the fire of a faithful wife, and a black-tailed rooster. At moonrise, deep in the shrine clearing, Mother Adziri arranged the 7 underwear pieces in a circle. Then she began chanting. The leaves were crushed. The river water was poured. The clay was sprinkled. At first, nothing happened. Then the wind turned. The fire leaned sideways, and a voice erupted from one of the cloths. "He promised me marriage!" Another followed. "My children kept dying!" Another screamed. "He stole my mind!" The clearing filled with voices of women trapped through cloth, shame, and deceit. Their pain rose like smoke into the night sky. Amina shook so hard her teeth clicked. Then, from the oldest, faded undercloth, came a softer voice. "Amina." She froze. No sound on earth could have pierced her more deeply. "Mother?" she whispered. "Amina," the voice repeated. "Do not fear your voice. Use it." At that moment, Kivem burst into the shrine clearing. His face was twisted with fury. In one hand he held a charm knife, in the other a calabash of black powder. "You old fools, do you know what you are opening?" Mother Azili struck her staff to the ground. "The truth." Kivem flung the powder into the air. Darkness spread like smoke. The rooster screamed. Invisible force tightened around Amina's throat. It felt as though all the years of silence were squeezing her from within. Kivem pointed at Amina. "You will never speak against me." But something rose in Amina then. All the years of loss, all the pain of her mother, all the women robbed of peace, all the shame used to keep them quiet. It gathered in her chest like thunder. Then it broke. "Liar!" The word exploded from her mouth like a cracked sky. Everyone froze. Amina clutched her throat. Her voice was back. Not weak, not broken, powerful. Kivem staggered. Amina stepped forward, tears on her cheeks, rage in her eyes. "Thief of women, eater of destinies, your darkness ends tonight." As she spoke, the cursed cloths began to burn one after another without flame touching them. The red binding thread writhed like a living snake. The trapped voices rose upward, free at last. Kivem tried to gather the cloths, but the same thread wrapped around his wrists and ankles. His charm knife shattered. The black thread on his wrist snapped. Then the voices turned on him. Every woman he had harmed began speaking at once, accusing, naming, condemning. He screamed and clawed at his ears, but he could not stop hearing them. The very silence he had stolen now became his punishment. He ran blindly into the forest. At dawn, hunters found him near a ravine, trembling, filthy, and muttering names of women like a madman haunted by a court of spirits. He was dragged before the elders. The whole village gathered. That day, Amina stood in the square and spoke openly for many years. Her voice carried across the crowd like a talking drum. She told them how evil often hides in charm and sweetness, how shame can become a cage, how women's private things are not to be mocked or carelessly handled, how silence protects the wicked when victims are too afraid to speak. Nobody laughed. Nobody called her mad, because truth has a weight that even stubborn elders can feel. Kivem was banished. The elders ordered a cleansing of every suspicious shrine object in the village. Mothers began warning daughters more carefully. Women burned old hidden cloths. Men became fearful of secret charms. And Amina? Amina became known far beyond Kudzi as the woman whose voice broke a curse. Women came to her from other villages seeking guidance. Some had strange afflictions. Some believed jealous lovers had worked against them. Some simply carried wounds of silence. Amina listened, and always she told them, "Evil grows where shame keeps mouths closed. Speak before the curse grows roots." And so, under full moons, old women still tell this tale to young girls beside cooking fires. Guard your body. Guard what touches your body. Guard what carries your scent and spirit, because not every cloth is just cloth, and not every silence is harmless. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe for more heart-touching stories.